Hi, and welcome to my video recording of my Booking.com database project that seeks to design and implement core features of Booking.com's booking system, such as its ability to store dynamic pricing, availability, transactions, storing a booking, filtering, and encryption. It's worth mentioning I've chosen to omit aspects of the system within my database, such as getting car insurance, restaurant bookings, and flights, as this was out of scope of the project. So to start off, we're assuming that the user already has an account and is typing their password credentials to log in. And this following SQL query here demonstrates the use of encryption for password retrieval. So if we click go here, we can see that it starts a very basic password check-in process as it gets the salt stored in clear text. At the bottom, it should be returned an if statement if the stored salted hash password is equal to the password that the user's typed at login. And here we can see that the password is correct, so the user's been able to log in as their password matches the stored salted hash password in the system. So we can continue on with the booking process.
So before a user makes a booking, the user may want to fill in their details first. And here we can see that the user's already inserted their main contact details and passport numbers first before we've done this. So when we run this query, we can see the details of the user, such as their first name, last name, nationality, address, passport, and importantly, their card number, which is encrypted. So we want the user to be able to show the card number as part of the payment process, but when we look that card number up in the database, we want the card number to be securely stored. It's important to note that I wouldn't use this encryption method if I had access to other methods outside of PHPMyAdmin, and there are an incredible number of payment card providers that exist to do this with full PCI compliance.
So following the user's journey through my database at mimicsbooking.com, it's important that we afford the user with the ability to look for accommodations based on their specific preferences. So as you can see here within my query, that the user maybe has a preferred destination, which is Belfast City Centre, and if we click go here, we should be able to see a different accommodation that's returned to us based on their filters. So here we have the destination and we preferred to Belfast City Centre. Looking for a hotel and with facilities such as a gym and a swimming pool. They'd like to go to these nearby landmarks or accommodations near these landmarks, and to have certain activities such as a tasting tour and walking tour. And as you can see, they've returned this accommodation primarily in Belfast, so that's what this user is going to go with as their preferred accommodation. So from our first query, we can see how the user can find the preferred accommodation through filtering. However, just to prove that the filtering mechanism works, if the user were to filter the search by only Belfast City Centre, as we can see here, or the North Coast without any other filters, we would see many more accommodations showing up like so. So we'll have our preferred accommodation, which is primarily in Belfast, but also these others, such as the Belfast Ibis and the rooftop apartment, as we haven't specified the accommodation type we're looking for. Similarly, in the North Coast, we also have an accommodation being returned because we haven't put any other parameters in except the destination name. So that's why we have these accommodations being returned as well, just to prove that this filter mechanism actually works.
So another filtering that my database actually includes is to show the distance of nearby accommodations or addresses to the user's address. So if we click go here, we can see that near the Premier Inn, which the user selected, we have address ID 3 and 4, which is within 2 kilometres. So if we look up in the accommodations, we can see that the Belfast Ibis, address ID 3, is only half a kilometre from our chosen address, the Premier Inn, and similar with the rooftop apartment, which is 2 kilometres within it. We can also use this query too for other things, such as looking for nearby points of interest or for things showing the distance that a hotel or accommodation is from the airport. So moving forward, if our user has narrowed down their search and found their preferred hotel, which is the Premier Inn, I'm going to show how my database employs dynamic pricing. So this query, we can see that two different prices were returned for the same room but on different dates. So it's £20 here, as we can see, within the month of November for the same room in the Premier Inn, but it's also £30 for the month of December. Um, Typically, accommodations might do this is if there's increased demand around Christmas time or around specific dates, and there may be a less availability, or it could be to do with a number of other factors, which I'll come on to.
So moving on, one of the key functions that my database implements similar to Booking.com is storing availability of a specific accommodation on a given date. So this query shows the total number of rooms available on a given date for a specific room type. So we'll click go here. This method of calculating availability works by using this query whereby the number of available rooms is calculated by taking the total number of rooms and taking away the number of unavailable rooms. And here we can see the number of available rooms we'll have is 3. In order to determine how many rooms have been booked though, when the user makes a transaction, their booking will be inserted into the booking line item table and into the room booking table. So if we'll have a look here, we have no bookings, and then similarly in the room booking table we have no bookings. So to calculate the availability of the accommodation, we can see earlier that the total number of rooms for that specific room type within the Premier Inn was 3. So if we look at the booking line item table or the room booking table, which we are on now, we can see there are no records available inserted of a user's booking. So this then means that the total number of available rooms within that room ID is still 3.
So after the user has viewed that there's available rooms on their chosen accommodation, the Premier Inn, and there's availability for the dates in November and December, we're going to make a transaction and book the room. So if we click go here, as we can see with the query, we've effectively booked a room on our chosen 2 nights for £40, as it was £20 per night, and we're doing it for 2 nights. Now, this query should also insert the user details into the booking table, as we can see here, and then also into the room booking table. So we can see their checking in and checkout dates. So this means that we can now view our record, meaning that we originally had 3 available rooms booked between the 1st and 3rd of November. But since there's a record within the booking table, the room booking table, now we can deduce that there are 2 available rooms on these given dates. So we can see the record within the booking line item table as well to see the breakdown of the cost. So just to show that the dynamic pricing model works, if our user was to go back and make another booking on a different date, so for example in here within December, so for 2 nights, when we click go for the transaction, we can see that the pricing's actually changed from £20 per night to £30 per night. This will then insert itself into the booking table, as we can see a breakdown. So it's user ID 5. So there's a breakdown of the cost. So £20 per night for the booking total cost, and here it's £30 per night for 2 nights. This will also then insert itself, as I showed before, within the room booking table. So we can see a breakdown of the checking in and checking out dates, which will then help us to deduce availability. So there was 3 rooms available, as I said, but because someone's checked in between the 1st and the 3rd, then there will only be 2 rooms available within that date. So lastly, if our room availability starts to decrease, one way that we can actually change the prices is within the query. So here, for example, I have a set total line cost price per night and the number of nights times by 1.2. So if we click go here, that should actually affect our total price, as we see down to here. So it's actually increased from £60 up to £72, which is then inserted into the booking table. This will then obviously show itself within the room booking, as I showed before, but it's just another way for us to manipulate the prices within our project, similar to booking.com. So thanks very much.